Welcome, everybody. I'm Jennifer Shryock. These are the RAIN sessions where I have the opportunity to talk to wonderful people about how they found their purpose and share these stories with you to help you along your path to finding your own purpose. Maybe we can share your story sometime. If you know anybody, please feel free to introduce them. I'd love to meet them. Today, I am talking to Joan Adams. I'm so excited to share her with you and to learn all about you, Joan, myself. To do that, I guess I'll just jump right into the first question. What did you used to do before you were called to your new work?
To my new work, there's a few things that I used to do. I was a stay-home mom for a long time, probably more than 20 years. During that time, I exercised a lot, and I found I enjoyed it. I suffered from headaches, and by accident, I realized that when I exercised regularly, my headaches became less severe and they came less often. So I found that quite interesting. So through the years of being a mom to my girls, I played with that a little bit, and I became fascinated with physical exercise, because before that I was not very physical at all. So I did that, and then as my girls grew, I decided it was time for me to find an interest outside of my house. So I thought, let's see if I can learn how to exercise and not hurt myself. I tended to be sore all the time, and I couldn't understand why that was happening. I always felt that you should be able to exercise. I felt like I was learning from the best because I bought videotapes all the time of the professionals, and they exercised every day and didn't hurt all the time, or so I thought anyway. So I decided, let me go to school and see, and just learn on my own. So that was quite a journey. It was a wonderful journey. I got a bachelor's degree in exercise science. I did not learn how to exercise without getting myself in pain. So I continued that pursuit. I was a Pilates instructor. Power Pilates at the time was one of the bigger Pilates studios in New York. So I learned from them. I learned everything they had to give. I was still hurting myself, and I was seeing that my clients were hurting themselves as well. So my journey continued. I was constantly looking for that thing, something that was going to be the thing that you can work out and not hurt yourself. And one day a Pilates client, handed me the book Pain Free by Egoscue. She said, my daughter gave this to me and told me I should do these exercises. I want to know what you think. Do you think these will hurt me? And from the first line, I thought, I love this guy, and I need to learn what this is. So,
Great.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to come back to that. First, I want to ask, motherhood, was that fulfilling to you? And then the studies, the exercise science studies, was that fulfilling, and were you good at those things?
Motherhood, yes. I mean, how can motherhood not be fulfilling? Sometimes on the day-to-day, drudgery of day-to-day life, it may not feel like it's really fulfilling, but it really is. It was wonderful. I love being able to be home with my girls. Going to school, I loved that. I was a terrible student when I was younger, but because I was very interested in what I was learning, it was really fulfilling. I thought I was getting the answers to that, and yeah, they were both very fulfilling. I loved them. Pilates was so-so. I felt like I was still looking for that thing. I felt it was one of the stepping stones I needed to do to get to where I wanted to get to.
Okay, great. And okay, so you alluded to what you're doing now. Tell us a little bit more.
Yes, I am a co-owner and director of the Egoscue Clinic of Philadelphia. What we do at Egoscue is we treat posture. We believe here at Egoscue that having your load joints lined up properly is the way we were meant to be. That's how we were designed to be. And when your body is that way, it feels its absolute best. With all technology and sitting and how we do things today, we don't have the movement that our bodies crave in our day-to-day life. And this is a way that you can get that movement back into your life without having to change your environment. You just kind of, do some exercises in the morning, maybe some at the end of the day, and you're feeling pretty good.
Interesting. You talked about this drive to overcome pain and injury as if it drove you, it called to you. We're talking about purpose and callings. Can you elaborate a little bit more about what got you to Egoscue?
Yes. I, like I said, as a young adult, I had horrible headaches. A dentist told me I had TMJ, which I know many people are diagnosed, so to speak, with that these days. But in my early to mid 30s, one morning, literally, I woke up one morning and my body hurt from head to toe. I felt like I had run a marathon, which I would never do because running's not my thing, but that I had run a marathon the day before. That's how bad my muscles hurt, something that I wasn't trained to do. So I had no idea why. I waited a little while. When I finally went to the doctor, he diagnosed me with fibromyalgia. I was quite skeptical about that. I did a lot of research on what it was after he told me I had that. I became even more skeptical. I went to other physicians this is not what's wrong with me, that kind of question. I didn't really find the answers that I wanted, so I stopped going to the doctors. All the time I was exercising, hurting myself more and more and more because something was going on. I had no idea what it was. So this was driving me to find out more. I was very busy going to school full time and having, younger children. My oldest daughter was probably just started high school, and my youngest daughter was 6 years younger. So she was in, middle school or something. So it was really busy. So I just did what my doctor said. He gave me, sent me to a physician, and they gave me a pain pill that you can take. And so I just did that for 4 or 5 years, just because I wasn't, it was something I had to live with and get through, basically. So after being on this pill for, I probably say 6 to 8 months, it was a non-narcotic, supposedly, pain reliever. I felt like my body was becoming dependent on this pill. And when I went and told the doctor this, I said, I think that this is happening. And she said, how do you know it's just not the symptoms of the fibromyalgia getting worse? You should take more. Thank God I didn't listen to that advice, because it took me many years to be able to get my body off that medication. It was not fun. So that's kind of the pain of it all. That kind of drove me to the purpose that I have now, for sure.
Yeah, I'm so interested. I used to, I think, believe that folks who were called to their work, that it was this beautiful vision. But the more I talk to people, and certainly the more I follow my own journey, it's often pain that is the way through, that there's something that motivates us to find our own relief and then help others, or something along those lines. That it's not at all what I thought, where trumpets would blast and say, yeah, you were supposed to be a fill in the blank. It's often this, something's not right, and I'm going to get to the bottom of it, this yearning to know something. And that seems to be what I'm hearing from you.
Absolutely. Yes, it's that persistence, dogged determination.
Yeah, and I'm really noting that you weren't satisfied with your diagnosis, treatment, program, prognosis. You could have just gone through life taking a little more medication, upping your dose however often, and yet you've instead felt this yearning. And was it a faith that there had to be something else?
I don't, my mom she's a wonderful woman. She raised 4 kids pretty much on her own. I was the youngest. I am the youngest of the family, and my father died when I was 5. So we were a pretty young family when he passed away. And she worked, raised us, paid for like everything all by herself in a time when that was not very easy for a woman to do. But all that stress, you can just imagine today with the talk about stress, what it did to her body, was, just take another medication. Okay. Side effects from that medication, just take another medication. And it just did not feel right to me ever, even though that's kind of what medical, our traditional medicine kind of says and, says to do. It just did not feel right. I believe we have this innate ability to heal ourselves. Not real sure where that idea came from. I just knew it. I feel like I've known it all along.
Mm-hmm.
So
wonderful. So my question is, what were you called to say or do? And I feel like you just kind of touched into this sense that the body can heal itself.
Yes, that the body, we all have the ability to heal ourselves. It's all in there. And I believe in God. Many people, if you don't, the universe, but we have everything we need inside ourselves and the natural foods on the planet to heal ourselves. I truly believe that. And that's kind of how my journey has taken me. That's kind of, true, honest exercise, not having to worry about lifting heavy weights, which I love doing. I still like lifting weights. I don't do it a whole lot, but I don't have time. But you don't need to do that. And, nature, all that stuff. I feel like we have to get back to that.
Okay, I'm compelled to ask, just because this is something that I hear quite a bit. Not everybody heals. And there's so much shame around getting sick in the first, it seems like culturally we're kind of expected to go harder, go faster, go longer, need less sleep. I hear so much romanticizing of pushing hard and overcoming things, stoicism and overcoming. And then I got sick. I encounter people who got sick and some who get sicker.
Right.
Can you speak to that? This isn't a softball, but it's something that I'd love to just converse with you about a little bit. How do you address that for folks? Are there certain things that you feel that the body is meant to heal and others that maybe are outside that realm? Certain things you work with?
I actually know that the body, at Egoscue, we believe that pain, physical pain, is just the body's voice. It's nothing to be feared. We're taught to fear it. Oh, you have pain? Don't do that. Well, if you're having pain when you do that, something that our bodies were made to do, it's your body's telling you something. So from this thought process, to me, my body, if you ask your body the right questions, it really knows what it needs. Pete Egoscue has one of the, he's got a million great quotes, but this one I love. He says, you're pretty smart, but your body's a lot smarter. And from that, when you open to the possibilities and you listen to what your body needs, we can do it. I feel like we've been taught that, like you said, we're trained to push ourselves. Doesn't matter if you're thirsty. It doesn't matter if you're hungry. It doesn't matter if you're tired. You just got to push through. And that's not really so. Your body is feeling that way for a reason. And you treat your cars. We treat our cars better than we treat ourselves. High performance cars, you're going to pay a ton of money to put the best gas in it so that it runs really fast. And yet when you see what you're feeding your own body, it doesn't compare. So that's where my mindset is and where I'm coming from.
Great. Thank you. And what actions did you take to get to the work that you're doing now? Often folks let go of something. I'd love to hear what actions you took and what you let go of to do the work you do now.
Yeah. So when I came across the book, the Pain-Free book, I was I was suffering. I shouldn't say suffering. I don't like that word. I was living with this unbelievable fatigue. It was to such a point that every moment of my day was planned around making sure I could lay down. I was still seeing clients, Pilates clients. I mean, I would cry before I was going to see a client because I would be so tired and I didn't know how I was going to get through the next hour and, not like fall over on them kind of thing. So to me, that thought process, I call it now my sick brain, because my whole life was planned around that fatigue and, oh, I can't do that. I'm doing too much that day. I have to, try and schedule that at another time, that kind of thing. So, I came across the book in about 2010. So 4 years later, I opened the clinic. Somewhere in there, it was about 6 months before I opened. I thought, I am not getting any younger. If I want to do this in my lifetime, I need to kind of just do it. So I prayed a lot, I have to say. And I let go of the thought of, I have to get better before I do this. And just really trusted. Literally, I would envision myself just closing my eyes, holding my nose, and jumping into the deep water. That's totally what it felt like. But I also had this really calm underneath that I could feel that this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing exactly at this time. And if I go one step in front of the other, everything would be okay. And so far it has been, I have to say. I, no idea how to run a business. I had been trained to be a therapist, but I didn't work with a ton of people. I was really kind of figuring that out. Along with that fatigue, you get all that brain fog as well. So all that was playing a role. I'd be like, ooh, I have no idea what I'm doing. So it was just a really big leap of faith.
I love it. I love that you visualized taking the leap.
Yep.
In order to help yourself take the leap.
Yep.
That's great, Joan.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's really fun. As part of this series, when I conceived of this series, I was thinking I wanted to interview people who were big achievers who had overcome some really hard thing and maybe illness or chronic, and had that guide them into business. So I asked this success question: how do you find success, and where are you in relation to your definition? And so far, nobody has answered monetarily. There have been so many other definitions of success. And at first I was like, oh, wait, maybe I'm off track. And then I realized, oh, no, this is exactly right. So I'm very curious to hear, how do you define success? Now,
I'm going to read my quote so I get it right. Okay. It's a Jackie Kennedy quote. I heard this years ago. She said, if you bungle raising your children, I don't think whatever else you do matters very much. And I feel very strongly about that. I really poured my heart and soul into my children. I can say today that they're my best friends. I'm really happy about that. My generation, most of the time you weren't best friends with your parents. That's not what that relationship was about. So to me, I have a great marriage. I'll be married 38 years in December.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And that is successful. Anything on top of that is just more icing on the cake to me. So.
And does pain or pain-free, does that play into your definition at all?
So I'm not sure I understand. Pain for myself, or being pain-free for myself, or by what I'm doing with my work?
I guess either way. I'm just curious if there's okay, we've reached success in terms of how you manage pain, or how you approach it.
How I approach it. So I don't have pain, physical pain. So I'm really happy about that. It is very freeing. It's amazing how much energy you have in a day when you don't have pain, or fatigue, whatever. I had adrenal fatigue, that stuff. In my work, Helping people become pain-free is extremely rewarding. Helping someone get their life back there are no words to put to that. So completely fulfilling, totally fulfilling, being able to help that happen for those who want it. Not everybody wants it, but for those who want it, there is an answer, which, is great.
Yes. Yes, it is. I work in the pain realm a little bit, as you may know, and I agree. It's very gratifying. And for me, my work is, I guess we just sort of shift the focus from the pain in the body,
right,
to some of the other, and you and I talked about this before, to some of the emotional work, and that release alone may well relieve the body. But it's so much fun just on its own that is gratifying for me too. I can imagine if you're in a situation where you're very regularly helping people to go from pain and fatigue to pain-free and fatigue-free, how rewarding that must be.
Very. And the relationships I build with my clients is that's successful to me. Right. Just the relationships themselves, because you get close to the people that you work with. And I see, we try not to have our clients come back. We hope that we can teach them how to do this so that they can go off and do it themselves. But to me, they're lifelong relationships that we have here with our clients. So it's really wonderful. Nice. Yeah. What
now wants to come through you and your work?
What now wants to come through me and my work? I have to see what I wrote. Okay, this I know. I want people to know that they have the power over their bodies. They can heal themselves. A lot of it, like you said, sounds like sort of the work that you're doing is by how we perceive and think of the world and things that happen to us. A lot of it is just, chronic, physical from our technology and stuff. So to know, it's very empowering to know that we have the power to heal ourselves, that we don't have to depend on others to make that happen. So, and I want people to know that their bodies are amazing and they love us unconditionally. And they're not letting us down, even though we think that's not really what's happening. They work so hard to keep us upright. That's why, posture is so off and you're crooked and things hurt and twisted. Body's working crazy hard for us to keep us upright because we're not feeding it the stimulus that it needs. And it just needs a little bit. So there's no magic pill. It takes persistence, determination, consistency, and that's it. That's like anything worth having in life, right?
Yeah, I love this message. My work is a little different than yours, and we share the same message that the body is here to serve. I read a quote somewhere that the remedy is inherent in the symptom, and I hear you saying that in your own words over and over, and I love that so much. I love that too. And it's so fun to learn a new approach. Right. To learn about your approach. I feel like not everything resonates with everyone, or we don't know about everything. And so here we get to share your method with folks, as well as this theme that I just really want to spread hope. When people come to me and they're recently diagnosed, I never want to assume too much about where they are, but I do want to say, no matter how you're feeling right now, there is hope. There's hope. And I hear that so clearly in your message, that the body is here to serve. It is serving, even if it feels like it's letting us down.
Yes. We tend to get a lot of our clients not all, but a lot of them are at the end of their journey. They've tried everything. And when they come, they're just coming grasping at straws. So, yeah, no hope.
Right. And sometimes I think that can be the best place, because if you've tried a lot of things and they haven't worked, while it's very frustrating, you might be willing to give something
Yes.
a shot, and that, you know, there's less, I'm going to strong arm this
Yes.
approach, which didn't
Yes.
work before. So maybe a little surrender to, okay,
That's right.
what could happen here? So I love that. I think that, you know, that's a very painful place to be, and it can be paradoxically a very ideal place to pivot from.
It's everybody's journey.
Right,
You
right.
got
What
to get
legacy?
to that spot.
That's right. That's right. What legacy do you want to leave, Joan?
When I think of legacy, I think of my girls, and the legacy I want to leave is to them, that they have the ability to live their life to their full potential, and that it's a choice. It's not life's happenings. It's how you choose to see what life hands you, and how you choose to interpret that and use that. Because again, I'm going to read that quote that I had put. Your past does not define you, it prepares you. I
love
totally
that.
believe that. When I look at my life and see how it was laid out, every step of the way has prepared me to get to this where I am right now. And it's I wouldn't be here at all. I wouldn't be doing the work that I'm doing. I wouldn't have the knowledge to help my clients like I have if I didn't go through stuff that I did. So
Amen. I can relate to that. One final question for folks who haven't yet found their purpose, who haven't found their thing like you have found and I have found and seem to continue to be finding. What advice would you give them?
just to be patient. You are being groomed to do something great. You can't do something great until you're ready. You're prepared and ready to do that. You may think you're ready to do that, but the universe, God, is preparing you to do something great. You just have to go through. You have to do the journey before you get there. So be patient.
I feel that gives so much hope to folks who are in the dark hallway.
Yeah.
That there's light. There is light somewhere, and yeah, and so often it's the hallway that is the corridor that's telling us what we'll do, how we'll serve others. It's the pain that we might be going through or the challenge that we go through that may be the thing that
There's
protect
always
others.
a silver lining, right? In all of that, if you choose to find it, all that pain and heartache that we go through.
I like to think so too.
Absolutely.
Joan Adams, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your story and your technique. Will you please send me a link so people can find out more about you and your clinic?
I definitely will. Thank you, Jennifer, for having me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Okay, we'll include all of that along with the video. Thanks, Joan.